Hi guys, welcome to the Khan's Econ Nugget channel. Today I'm going to discuss the concept of absolute advantage versus comparative advantage. The underlying assumptions I'll be making are as follows. Two countries, two products, and one factor of production, that's labor. So this two product, two country world and one factor of production world, keep it simple so that we can explain those concepts in a simpler way. And once we understand it in a simpler way, we can apply it in a more than two countries as well as more than two products world, right? So let us first focus on the left hand side table, which is explaining the concept of absolute advantage. Absolute advantage can be defined as a strength for a country in terms of least cost production. In other words, if the same good is produced in two countries, the country that is producing it with the least cost or using the least amount of input, then that country would have absolute advantage in production of that goods. For example, in this case, the only factor of production is human labor. So if a particular product, one country can produce it using fewer labor hours than the other country, then that country would have absolute advantage in producing that product relative to the other country. So for example, if there are two countries, USA and Jamaica, and a pound of jerk chicken US can produce using 12 human labor hours. On the other hand, if Jamaica can produce the same amount of jerk chicken using 14 labor hours, then we would say US has absolute advantage in jerk chicken production because US is requiring fewer labor hours to produce the same amount of jerk chicken that Jamaica is producing. Also, for the laptop production, on the column here, on the absolute advantage example column, that hours needed to produce a laptop, so US requires 8 hours to produce a laptop. On the other hand, Jamaica requires 28 hours to produce a laptop. So again, USA has absolute advantage in producing the laptop as well. So in this example, on the left hand side table is showing that for both the jerk chicken production as well as the laptop assembly production, US has absolute advantage because for both of those two products, US require fewer hours to produce them compared to the hours needed by Jamaica. Now let's explain the right hand side table, which is showing an example of comparative advantage concept. The concept of comparative advantage refers to a situation where the country that can produce a product with the least amount of opportunity cost, that country will have comparative advantage in production of that product. So let's give an example to make it further clear. So your second right hand side table column heading is saying opportunity cost of producing a pound of jerk chicken. So for USA, the opportunity cost of producing a jerk chicken has to be measured in the form of foregone amount of laptop, right? So what would be the opportunity cost for US to produce jerk chicken of a pound? Well, let's refer back to our left hand side table. From that table we know US would be spending 12 hours of labor to produce a pound of jerk chicken, right? Now the question is, with that 12 hours, US would have produced how many laptops? By looking at the data, we know US needs 8 hours to produce a laptop. So by 12 hours, US could have produced 1.5 laptop, right? So that would be the opportunity cost for US of producing a pound of jerk chicken. Now let's see what would be the opportunity cost for Jamaica to produce a pound of jerk chicken. Well, Jamaica produced a pound of jerk chicken, That means Jamaica has already spent 14 labor hours. Now, on a hindsight, Jamaica is asking itself this question. Well, by using these 14 labor hours, how many laptops I would have assembled instead? So then we have to look at Jamaica's time required for producing laptop. Jamaica needs 28 hours to produce a laptop. Now, by spending 14 hours, it can only assemble half of the laptop. So Jamaica's opportunity cost of a pound of jerk chicken production is not being able to produce half a laptop. So that's why Jamaica's opportunity cost of producing the jerk chicken is 0.5 or one half of a laptop. Similarly, we can also find out the opportunity cost of producing a laptop for US as well as opportunity cost of producing a laptop for Jamaica. So for US, opportunity cost of producing a laptop would be measured in terms of the foregone amount of jerk chicken production, right? So US spent 8 hours to produce a laptop, meaning that 8 hours could have been spent instead in jerk chicken production, and US could have produced 0.67 pound. That's like 2/3 of a pound of a jerk chicken with that time, right? So that would be the opportunity cost of US's laptop production in the amount of foregone amount of jerk chicken. And similarly for Jamaica, Jamaica would be spending 28 hours to produce that laptop, but instead that 28 hours they could have used to produce 2 pounds of jerk chicken for Jamaica. So opportunity cost for Jamaica's laptop production would be 2 pounds of um, jerk chicken. So now let's see which country has comparative advantage in jerk chicken production and which country has a comparative advantage in laptop production. So again, the country that has the least amount of opportunity cost will have the comparative advantage. So over here, let's compare opportunity cost for jerk chicken production. That's 1.5 laptop for US and only half a laptop for Jamaica. So it looks like for Jamaica's opportunity cost is lower than US's opportunity cost, and therefore we'll comment that Jamaica has comparative advantage in jerk chicken production. Similarly, let's find out which country would have comparative advantage in laptop production. So here we see for US, the one laptop production's opportunity cost would be not being able to produce 0.67 or 2/3 of a pound of jerk chicken. On the other hand, Jamaica's opportunity cost would be not being able to produce 2 pounds of a jerk chicken. So it looks like 2/3 of a pound is a smaller amount than 2 pounds. So US would have comparative advantage in laptop production. So therefore, based on this comparative advantage data, we see that Jamaica should specialize in jerk chicken production and US should specialize in laptop production, because that's what these two countries are comparatively better at, and then they should engage in mutually gainful international trade. So mutually gainful international trade is conducted based on comparative advantage, not based on absolute advantage, right? And comparative advantage calculation takes into consideration of opportunity cost, or the foregone amount of the other product that was not being able to produce because the resources have been used to produce the product, the incumbent product, right? So please drop me a line or make a comment on this channel or email me at econ.nuggets@gmail.com if you have any clarifying questions. Thank you so much for watching.